The day the world went silent. It started with the screech of tires and the shatter of glass. I remember every detail. A macabre snapshot burned into my mind. The rain-slicked road, the twisted metal of our car, and Sarah, motionless in the passenger seat. The official report called it an accident. A tragic, unavoidable event on a dark, stormy night. For months, I believed it. I let grief swallow me whole. A fog so thick I could barely see the next day. I walked through our home, a ghost in my own life, touching the things she loved, breathing in the scent of her that still lingered in the air. The world told me to move on, to accept the hand fate had dealt. But something deep inside, a tiny, insistent whisper, refused to let it go. It wasn't just an accident. It started with small things that didn't add up. Why was Sarah on that specific road? A detour she never took. The police found it strange, but with no evidence of foul play, they closed the case. I started pulling at the threads myself, spending nights hunched over maps and accident reports, my living room turning into a war room of grief and suspicion. The whisper grew louder. Then, one evening, I was going through Sarah's old things and found her day planner. Tucked into the back pocket was a small, folded note. Her handwriting was unmistakable. It mentioned our neighbor, Mr. Henderson. Henderson offered again. It read, "Getting aggressive about the land. Said he'd do whatever it takes." It's starting to scare me. Henderson, our quiet, unassuming neighbor. He'd been trying to buy our land for years, wanting to expand his property. We'd always politely refused. Sarah loved our home, the woods that bordered our yard, the little creek where we'd have picnics. It was our sanctuary, whatever it takes. The words echoed in my head, cold and menacing. A sick feeling churned in my stomach. Could it be? It was insane, but the more I thought about it, the more the puzzle pieces started to fit. His persistent offers, his strange, almost smug condolences after the funeral, the way he'd look over at our property with a hungry gaze. The fog of grief began to burn away, replaced by the white-hot fire of rage. My investigation became an obsession. I was no detective, just a grieving husband armed with a terrible suspicion. I started watching him. I installed security cameras, discreetly pointed towards his property. I followed him, keeping my distance, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and adrenaline. Days turned into a blur of surveillance and sleepless nights. I saw him meeting with a man I didn't recognize, a rough-looking character who drove a beat-up truck. They'd meet in secluded spots, exchanging hushed words and envelopes. I managed to get the truck's license plate. A friend of a friend in law enforcement ran it for me, off the record. The truck belonged to a mechanic, a man with a record for insurance fraud and tampering with vehicles. The connection was a lightning strike. The mechanic's garage was just a few miles from where Sarah crashed. I went there late one night, my hands shaking as I picked a lock on a side door. Inside, the smell of oil and grease was overwhelming. I moved through the shadows, a flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. And then I saw it. Tucked away under a dusty tarp was a wrecked front bumper, the same model as the one the police report said was involved in a hit and run with Sarah's car, the one they never found. It was him. Henderson had hired this man to stage the accident, to cut her brake lines, to run her off the road. It didn't matter. He had killed her. He had murdered my wife for a piece of land. Proof. I needed undeniable proof. The security cameras gave me something. One night, I captured Henderson on his back patio, on the phone. The audio was faint, but I spent hours cleaning it up, isolating his voice. I could just make out the words, "It's done. The land will be mine soon. No loose ends." He was talking to the mechanic. He was confirming the job. The calm, almost casual way he spoke about ending my wife's life made my blood run cold. This wasn't just about land. This was about a man with no soul, a monster living right next door. I had him. I had the audio, the photo of the bumper, the connection to the mechanic. The police would have to listen now. But as I sat there, staring at the evidence on my computer screen, a different thought took hold. The police, the courts, the legal system. It all felt so slow, so sterile. Would justice truly be served? Would a prison sentence be enough for the man who stole my world? Sarah's face floated in my mind, her warm smile, the sound of her laughter. No, a prison cell was too good for him. He needed to feel what I felt. He needed to understand loss. The fire of rage that had been fueling me now hardened into something colder, sharper. An eye for an eye. I wasn't just a grieving husband anymore. I was an instrument of vengeance. The plan formed in the quiet darkness of my study. It was simple, elegant, and final. Henderson was a creature of habit. Every Friday night, he drove to his remote cabin deep in the woods. The very woods he so desperately wanted to own. He always took the same winding, treacherous back road. The same kind of road where Sarah had died. I knew that road like the back of my hand. I knew its every curve, its every blind spot. I knew the perfect place, a sharp turn with a steep drop-off, shielded by a thick canopy of trees. There would be no witnesses. It would look like another tragic, unavoidable accident. That Friday, I waited. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. A beautiful sunset for a very ugly deed. I parked my car in a hidden alcove and walked to the spot I'd chosen. The air was cool, the woods silent, except for the chirping of crickets. I felt strangely calm, my purpose clear. Soon, I heard the rumble of his expensive SUV approaching. Headlights cut through the twilight. My heart hammered against my ribs, but my hands were steady. As he came around the bend, I stepped out, right into the path of his headlights. He swerved, just as I knew he would. The squeal of his tires was a symphony of justice. The SUV careened towards the edge, smashed through the flimsy guardrail, and plunged into the ravine below. The crash echoed through the silent woods, a final, brutal punctuation mark. I didn't stay to watch. I walked back to my car, the sounds of the crash fading behind me. I didn't feel triumph, or joy, or even satisfaction. I just felt empty. The fire was gone, leaving behind only ashes. Driving home, I passed our house, its windows dark and silent. I had avenged Sarah, but it wouldn't bring her back. The silence in my car was as profound as the silence that had started this nightmare. The world was still quiet, and in that quiet, I finally understood. Vengeance hadn't healed me. It had only made me a part of the darkness. I was a ghost once more. But this time I was haunted, not just by her memory, but by what I had become. The road ahead was long and empty, and I would have to travel it alone.